Now, Apple surprised us all by launching a phone with flagship internals at about 40,000 rupees. Yes, the build looks dated, but does the A13 chip inside and the Apple branding make this phone worth buying? Let's take a look at the pros, cons, and everything else that is to know about the iPhone SE in this video. Hey guys, Ash here from C4 Tech, and I've used this phone as my primary for about 10 days. So welcome to my review of the iPhone SE 2020 edition. If you do end up liking what you see here, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's now get started. Let's start with what's there to like about this. First and foremost, the chip inside. We have the super beefy Apple A13 chip and it makes everything feel very smooth. Even with any kind of gaming, the iPhone SE did not break a sweat. Not that we expected it to. Remember, it's only pushing an HD display. Given the lack of pixels, this chip feels like overkill. Apple's ecosystem is also arguably geared towards a better gaming experience, especially with Apple Arcade, which gives you real games without microtransactions for $99 a month. Talking about the Apple ecosystem, iOS 13 is very consistent here. Apps are snappy to deal with. There's nothing to really complain about from a software or performance standpoint. And remember, like I said in the unboxing, having the same chip as the current gen Apple flagships means the iPhone SE should be able to get iOS updates for about 4 years, keeping this phone relevant for a long time. Now remember, the display and build are straight out of the iPhone 8. So this HD display is something I thought I'd end up not liking, but it wasn't as much as a problem as I thought it would be. This is a quality LCD panel. The chunky bezels to the top and bottom makes the phone's design look dated, but it also gives you somewhere to grip, helping with the gaming experience. And the speakers too, they were loud. Yes, speakers as in stereo. So the SE was good for media consumption overall. Talking about good experiences, just using this phone. At under 150 grams, it's the lightest phone I've used in a long time. It's also pretty slim at just 7.3 millimeters. Whether it's using it single-handed or just having it in my pocket, I enjoyed my time with the iPhone SE. This glass sandwich design gives it a premium feel, and the red-black combo is also easy on the eyes. Nice to haves like IP67 water and dust resistance protection and wireless charging support are things I appreciated too. Moving on, the return of Touch ID is something I liked. It's fast and very accurate. I rarely had a missed scan, and given all the time we spend with masks on these days, it came across as a huge positive. Now this shot you're seeing, it was taken by the iPhone SE 7 megapixel selfie camera, and this one's a portrait lighting shot. As you can see, it's pretty decent. Sometimes portraits are a bit of a hit or a miss, but for the most part, the selfie camera performance was good. Well, on the topic of optics, we only have a single 12 megapixel sensor paired with an optically stabilized f1.8 lens. Under daylight, the performance is pretty similar to the iPhone 11 series. I mean, you can hardly tell these images apart now, can you? The image is well detailed, the colors are Apple natural, if that's a thing, and the dynamic range is very impressive too, thanks to the Apple A13 chip and the smart HDR it enables. The portrait mode too felt well done. A lack of a second sensor meant it's restricted to only humans, but I didn't see that as much of a con. But under low light, here's where the camera struggled. And by struggled, I mean it didn't do as well as the competition. That's more of a software thing though. Most phones these days above 12,000-15,000 rupees support some form of night mode or the other, so that's a glaring omission here on the SE. That's why almost every other competitor in this segment manages to outdo the SE under low light. But with video, the stabilized 4K 60 footage is so good. The video performance is right up there with the best, most expensive flagships available. Here's a video snippet from my unboxing. Now this is 4K 60 FPS being shot by the iPhone SE. I mean, it's just got one camera, so no primary camera, but it's single camera. And over here, the dynamic range is much better. And everything is sharp. The colors are very natural. And the footage seems to be pretty stable. Let me just do a quick little pan across. I like the stability factor. What do you guys feel about this footage? Of course, over here the highlights are being blown out. The exposure is quick to change, but it did blow out. Now the sky is blown out, but that's expected given I'm looking straight at the sun over here, or rather have the camera focused straight at the sun. Any which ways, let me know what you feel in the comments below. You know how you've been seeing conditions apply throughout different parts of this review, like with watching videos or playing games? Now that's because yes, the video watching experience with the stereo speakers or Apple Arcade gaming experience or the video recording quality, it was all excellent, but I couldn't really enjoy it as much as I have liked to, because the battery life is absolutely atrocious. half the days that I used this as my primary, I wasn't able to get to the end of the day on a single charge. And the other half, I just about barely got to the end of my day. And remember, it's not like you can do a quick top up because the included charger, it's rated at just 5 watts. Now, I remember reading this somewhere about phone pricing. It's not about how much you pay, but how often you pay, or something along those lines. I do agree with that, but with the SE, the specs, the experience, the software, they're all good enough for you to be able to retain this phone for over 4 years. But the battery life, it's bad on day one. An optimistic projection is going to be a 10% dip in battery health every year. And if it's bad on day one, think how bad it's going to be with year 2, year 3. Now that's the deal breaker for me with this iPhone SE. A phone's only as strong as its weakest link, and the weakest link here for the iPhone SE, it's got to be the battery. Now, the other cons, I can live with them. No headphone jack, single camera, HD display, no face unlock, eSIM, only a 5-watt charger included in the box and all that. I mean, some of these aren't even real negatives. They're just minor inconveniences, like for example, the eSIM and all that. So I'm fine with that, but it's the battery life that really stops me from recommending this phone to most people. The only reason you should get the iPhone SE is if you are dead intent on getting an iPhone at this price point. It is an excellent phone, it's very impressive, but one that's majorly let down in one area. Now again, maybe if the iPhone SE was priced in India the same way it was in the US, and if the competition was also priced the same way, I'd probably be tempted to buy it, despite the compromises. Think, if the OnePlus 8 started at 53,000 rupees and the iPhone, it came in at 23,000, would you pay extra for OnePlus 8? Maybe you could skip out on it. That is the situation in the US, but in India, it's priced 500 rupees over the OnePlus 8. And at this price point, it's not just the OnePlus 8. There are other alternatives that lead me to give the iPhone SE a pass. I really wanted to like this one, the compact form factor and all that, but the battery life, if it wasn't clear from all the times I've mentioned in this video, it was just something I could not look past. So this is my take on the 2020 iPhone SE. Now I want to know what you have to say. Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this review. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.